What makes you think you're a she, a woman?
Right. I gave my definition of gender, and just to make sure that I'll do the same for you and offer my definition of sex. I would say that sex is a loose collection of biological traits that we have socially categorized into defining male and female. Although we also recognize intersex as well. And as far as like what makes how I identify or whatever,
Hmm.
that's going to start at a philosophical question of cognito, right? Because cognito is going to be like, how do you form identity in the first place? Because everyone forms identities. Trans people, cis people, like any single person has their brain is going to form an identity. Obviously, when you were first born, you're not just you don't come preloaded with all of this identity. You end up having to, as your brain is developing, like do internalist introspection, comparing yourself then externalist to other people. You're going to take cultural impacts into it, what your personal understanding of knowledge, then your experiences that you have. All of these things are going to coalesce
Right, but
into
I'm asking
creating an identity for
specifically.
you. Right.
Can you be more specific?
I'm getting there. No, I'm getting there. It's a complicated question because it's dealing with how's identity formed. Period. Now, when we're talking about gender, gender doesn't escape any of the same issues that any other form of identity is going to have. Whether that's an identity as like an American, an identity as a tall person or a short person, right? From the internalist view, you're going to have what you think is available knowledge and what you understand is possible with people. And with trans people, we, upon introspection, recognize that usually within a given culture of our given time, that our expression of self, our understanding of identity, more is in line with what's typically correlated with people that are women.
Right, and I'm asking you, what is that?
What is the relevance of that question?
Cause see, whenever this is the problem, whenever I ask questions like this, someone else butts in to come to Zoe's
Yeah,
defense. Zoe,
yeah, and we have a good reason for doing that
Well, I think Zoe would have a
because
good answer to that
because
actually.
we
But
we consider we consider you to be a troll, right? Now you were given
you see
permission to
what
have
happens,
this
Zoe?
discussion.
This is why we should
Yeah,
probably
look, I
talk
don't know
about
why
this
you're over.
on a different Discord.
Why are you over talking? You understand that when I'm talking, you don't talk, right? So yeah, I want to understand why that's a relevant question because I'm not interested in granting you opportunities to troll. So why is it a relevant question? I mean, maybe somebody else understands what's going on here better than I do. Like, why is he asking that?
Because he's trying to undermine like anyone's ability to form identity, and he's trying to tie this. And I mean, you
Does he
can
have an
say
argument? Why does he need to ask you a question if that's what he's trying to do? Why doesn't he just present an argument?
He
I
thinks
mean,
he's
am
going to
I?
get there through his street epistemology, but it's going to take forever, and he's never going to
Yeah,
get
but
there.
I why do we want to put up with that garbage?
I just want to
Does he
ask.
have an argument?
Yeah, let's get the conversation back on the rails, right? How about this, Pine Creek? Do you base your opinions about affirming trans people, about medical care and all these sorts of things? Do you base that on empirics, or are you basing it on your opinion about the way that trans people form identity?
Well, the question I just asked you, I've asked to many trans people. The answer is both, but the quick answer. But the question I just asked you, I have found that most trans people, if not all, really struggle to answer it. And this gets back
Right.
to
I
a.
don't struggle to answer it.
Okay, so then,
Yeah, but we don't care whether they do or not,
so I'll ask
right?
it
Are you
again.
trying to make an art? Are you? Hey! You heard me talking, right? That means that you be quiet. So, are you trying to make an argument, Doug? Because we'll be happy to entertain an argument if you have one.
Crickets.
You see, I don't. Why are we doing this? Why are we giving him an opportunity to troll? I don't get it.
Because Zoe asked me to.
I understand. And I'm saying maybe it isn't wise to continue since you don't have a fucking argument, right, Doug?
Or you could just tell us what your actual criticism of this.
I'm trying to ask a question, and I can get to the.
Yeah, we don't care about the fucking questions. Do you have an argument or not? See, it's just fucking bullshit.
Zoe, am I allowed to ask you?
I say let's just mute him. He's just playing games.
Zoe, can I ask you a question?
What's your
Please
question?
please don't sound so innocent.
Yeah, but
what's
see, look, I want to understand what the relevance of the question is.
The relevance of the question gets to what we were talking about earlier, so it all ties into the therapy that we were talking about.
You're just repeating the claim that it's relevant, right? I'm trying to understand how.
Well, if you let me talk, I can explain it.
Good. Answer the question.
So, Zoe, my question to you was, what is that thing that you specifically tie yourself to? What is that standard that makes you think you're a woman? And you've already mentioned that this is a complicated question, and that I think you would admit that it's very subjective. And this gets to the therapy part, that it's very subjective when you're in therapy with a psychologist on what exactly makes one trans. And so I'm asking you, Zoe,
look, stop. Look, I don't see what difference it makes what the answer is, right? Presumably you have a response, whatever she's going to answer, right? So why don't you just explain to us what your position is? And then if we don't accept it, you can give us arguments for it. So I don't want to tolerate the street epistemology garbage that you do.
Zoe, do you want to talk
in a
different Discord?
Yeah, go fuck off.
Zoe?
Go fuck off if you don't want to give an argument.
I would ask you.
We could probably have a better conversation if Jack wasn't here.
Did you agree with what I was saying about identity? That we all formed them, and that it's informed. It's going to be, but through usually internalist like reflections, like metacognition and this type of stuff.
Yes.
As well as cultural influences.
He doesn't even know what that stuff means.
Yes.
Right. So,
Zoe.
but if you agree with all of that, then an identity is formed, and for whatever reason, some people form an identity that's trans, and some people form an identity that's cis. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
All right. Then I feel like that's the foundation for all we need to say that there are people that are identifying this way, and now we're dealing with healthcare issues, etc. And I would like to get back on track because it's like you agreed, seemingly, with most of the prescriptions about what we ought do with their healthcare. Then all of a sudden,
but a lot
you
of
swung
these
way out into this abstract.
It's tied together, Zoe, and please hear me out. It's tied together, and I hope Jack doesn't interrupt us. When it comes to the diagnosis, when it comes to the therapy, if one can't pinpoint or cannot at least know what it means to be trans, like if I ask you what is it? What is?
See, you're just being fucking dishonest, right? Because we've gone over this before with you, right? You went over this with Tom. You've gone over it with me, right? And you understand perfectly well how you could have a distinction like that, how it could make sense, right? So what's the objection?
So Zoe, for example, some people might answer that.
What's the answer to my question?
I like to play with dolls, and so therefore I identify as a.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Identify as a girl. I like certain colors.
Doug,
pink,
you understand?
So
You understand that I'm a mod. You
Is
understand
it
that I'm a
something like
mod,
that,
here,
Zoe,
right?
or is it something else?
And you understand, right, that I think you're garbage, right? So I'm not willing to tolerate you over talking me. When I start talking, you stop fucking talking. If you don't like it, get the fuck out of the room.
I mean, it sounds like ultimately all he's doing is affirming that it's going to be subjective per person. He's not really making a case against it if he's trying to. I don't even understand what he's trying to get at.
Yeah, just present us your position, right? And if we don't accept it, we can raise an objection, and then you can give us arguments. But if you start doing the street epistemology stuff, I'm going to stop you. If you don't like it, get the fuck out of the room. I don't care. I'm not interested in platforming you, right?
I mean, if you're looking for an absolute necessary criteria, you're not going to find it, Doug. So make an argument.
So Zoe, getting to my question about, for you specifically.
Hey, did you hear what I asked you to do? Did you hear that? I said not to start asking Zoe questions, right? Present us your position. Did you hear that? I'm talking to you, Doug. Did you hear that? Did you hear what I asked you to do?
Zoe's been answering your questions for a long time.
I think. Look, I don't really see why we're doing this. Do people agree with me that we should just fucking mute him? Because he's just here to troll.
He's asked the same questions, and Zoe's already given him a lot of sufficient answers. So
yeah, but you understand. I've asked him just to avoid going through this whole rigmarole, right, of trying to entrap Zoe with some kind of Socratic approach, to just state his position. Because it's just a fucking bunch of bullshit, right? Like, we've been over this before with him. Tom went over it with him, right?
I've been over it with him, and he gets cornered in the same way.
Yeah. So look, he doesn't even want to answer, right? I've asked him point blank numerous times, doesn't even want to fucking answer. Who's objecting to us muting him?
Come on, Doug. Just state the objection, man. You've got one. Just state it.
Yeah,
I just came back. Can I just? Well, go ahead.
Yeah. So one of my objections is that there can be very feminine males out there and very masculine females out there in the world. And so when it's very complicated, as you said, Zoe, of these things called identity, if someone is a very feminine male and they think they're trans when really they're just a feminine male, what is it that switches that switch that says, oh no, they're not just a feminine male, they're trans? Like, can you help? That's my objection, and why it's
just wait. So you're just saying you don't understand what the distinction is in terms of necessary and sufficient conditions? Is that what you're saying?